Hi guys, it's Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge. Today I'm going to take a look at another slip joint knife from Sanrenmu. This is the 9054, the 9054 by Sanrenmu. It has a distinct shape to it. You know, it kind of like mirrors the two sides of it in a bit of its shape like that. Come on down to the desktop and watch the rest of this video with me, because this is a very interesting knife. It's not just for people who have to use slip joints. This knife is a good carrier for just about anybody. Okay, let's take a good look at this slip joint knife. I've been meaning to review this one for quite a long time. It's one of the knives that I had on the cover of the Drive to 125 giveaway video that I've produced in late May. This was one of the knives that you saw on that table. And so some of you might have been waiting for this thing more than others. Again, it's the Sanrenmu 9054 SUC-GH. Just look at that blade shape, that style of blade. I really like blades that have this kind of they seem to go along and then sort of bump and come down, although it doesn't really go up and then down. It just sort of goes along and then down. And the swedge gives that illusion that it's a bump going up. So you've got that nice swedge coming down to a nice drop point, and then it meets a huge belly for the size of the knife, and then a sweet, gentle little recurve. And it's a hollow grind all the way along, with the belly being the biggest part of the grind. And it just looks like it's got that big round edge that can cut through just about anything. And those of us who are more experienced with knives know how good a belly on a knife can be for cutting. I'd like to say that this is probably the best or my favorite slip joint knife that I have. And I really think it is. I have I don't know, about good 10 slip joint knives. So it's not really saying much that it's the best of 10, but living in a jurisdiction where I don't have to have slip joint knives, it's kind of, I think it's kind of cool that I've got that many of them. Let's take a look at some more of the details of this blade. The blade is 3¼ inches long. So again, it's gone, like a number of knives that I've done lately, it goes over that 3-inch limit that a lot of jurisdictions have. So I'm sorry about that. I will be having some more knives that are within the 3-inch limit coming up this summer. It's, just over an inch at the belly here, from spine to cutting edge, and then it comes back a little bit less here on the recurve. The steel is unique on this blade too. 12 CR27 SANDVIK steel is what they've used on here, and that's no wonder I've had no wear on this knife. The edge has just kept on going for everything that I've wanted to cut. Nice and sharp. If I do the thumb test, the thumbnail test, anywhere along the blade, it just catches right away. And that's a good sign that it's sharp. I can't do the hair on the arm thing because I've got girly hair for that. It just doesn't cut. I could do my leg hair, but I've mentioned that in a different video. You guys don't want to see my legs. So that's enough about the blade. Let's talk about the rest of the knife. I'm going to close it up so I stay safe. It's got a flipper arm. I guess we're still talking about the blade. I can use it, if I use a lot of wrist action, I can get it to flip out. Ow, did that wrong. Ha, there we go. So yeah, it doesn't work as a flipper that well. If you made the pivot any looser, I broke my nail a little bit. If you made the pivot any looser, then you would have play when it's open, and it's got no play right now at all. Just the slip joint gives on the way down. That's the only kind of play you get. So you can use the flipper if you have just the right kind of wrist action. but I'm pretty good with a thumb stud. I can usually get it. Come on, Jake. When I'm standing, it's much easier. When you're sitting, it does make it harder. You know, I'm pretty good at using the thumb stud on this knife and getting it to flip open, you know, to make that dramatic entrance. The problem is if you do that in public, it's a little too dramatic and people are going to think that you've got the knife for a purpose of being aggressive. So that's for playing in your basement or wherever else you like to play and enjoy your knives. Let's talk about the clip here. Open it up to stay safe. Close it up to stay safe. It's got a nice little clip. The clip has got very good power. The retention combined with the texture on the G10 is more than adequate. It's a fairly deep carry. As you can see, you're going to be having your pants pocket go right up to the end here, just because of the shape of this. It might slow down because they didn't use inset screws. The screws do sit up a little bit, but there should be enough room to usually get it up there. And so you've got not 1/4 of an inch, just slightly less than 1/4 of an inch that's going to be showing, and then the shiny steel. But you've got 4-way options on this knife. Finally, a knife that I'm reviewing again that's got 4-way clip options. So it came like this with the tip down clip. You can easily do the tip up clip, but as you can see, the end is right there. So you're going to have that sticking out of your pocket plus the silver of the clip. You know, it looks kind of strange just being a point like that, but it is what it is. The other good thing about the shape of this knife is when it's closed, you can wrap your hand around it, just have your thumb clear the flipper there, and now you've got a persuader device. If I do it the other way, the blade into my hand, it's a little more easy, a little more gentle on the thumb, the shape there. And so you've got something to persuade somebody a little bit more to do what you want to do. Not that I advocate, fighting or anything, but that's certainly less harmful than having the blade exposed. And, with the blade exposed, you can potentially you've got a much greater odds of using lethal force than you do with the blade closed. It's all Torx tools. There's no proprietary tools on here. The jimping is kind of cool. There's a nice fine jimping on the front swedge and then again on this back swedge. So my hand goes in, and so you've got jimping for your index finger and your second last finger. Sorry, I was away from the camera. So you got jimping for your index finger and your second last finger right there when you grab the knife like this. So if you've got a large size hand like I have, your pinky will then rest up here on top of this part of the handle, and your thumb will enjoy this fine jimping on the liners and a little bit larger jimping on the thumb ramp. And that is just adequate jimping. It's not too much and it's not too little. It's just adequate for holding the knife nice and firm and snug. And then you can use it for a great variety of tasks. And if the knife should come and slip loose of the slip joint, it's going to hit your knuckle right there and not close onto your hand. You can have a fair bit of force back there, and you might get a little bruise on your finger, but that is much preferable to lopping onto a finger and getting some deep cuts across there. With enough force, this is such a fine edge on this hollow grind that I don't know if it could cut through a hand or not. It potentially could. So you've got this black G10. You can also get it in what's called light tan. It's sort of a creamy colored. At GearBest, I got this knife for $10.29. It was on a special price then. The cream one is $12.49 right now on the day that I make this video. And at FastTech, these knives are $13.50, the two different colors. Give or take a few cents. They're not both identical priced. It's kind of odd. It makes me wonder why, the same knife in two different G10 versions would be off by 3 or 4 cents. It's just that it is what it is. The jimping that's back here, I think it's just decorative. But you've got a small lanyard hole there. It's not a very large lanyard hole. You're going to have to use just the casing of a paracord, or you're going to have to, be Houdini to find some way to slide that in there and get it to hold. But you also have, no, you don't. You don't have the option of putting it around that last pillar. I was thinking you do. But look at this. The knife comes fairly close to the end. There's not a lot of space after the end, but the pivot, the post is right here, so the cutting edge of the knife is getting right close to that post. So what do you think of this knife, guys? I'd really love to hear your comments. If you comment below, I'd appreciate it. It's got a nice little cutout right here to get towards the thumb stud. I really like that when they do a good job of that. It looks like there's a sharp angle right here on the edge of the G10, but they've rounded it off very nicely. And then they've sanded and sort of polished the G10 edge right here, which is, it makes it just very comfortable in the hand. So we've got a nice ambidextrous slip lock that's over 3 inches long, that with a little bit of practice, because there's so much weight at the front of this blade, you can even flick open a slip joint knife. Isn't that nice? Oops. So remember, friends, always cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Bye now.